I want to start today's episode with saying fun stories to watch are always those about people that are underestimated. And in the movie that we're going to talk about today, the main character has a scene where he actually delivers two great lines that communicate this message. The first line is,
"Obsession's going to be talent every time."
And the second line is,
"Never back down."
The actor that plays this role is Adam Sandler, and he's the one that I'm saying is always underestimated, not just in this movie, but in real life too. The movie we're talking about today is Adam Sandler's new Netflix movie, Hustle. Let's talk for a minute. And again, like usual, right from the top, I just want to say the score for this movie is a 7.5 out of 10. Now, do not get me wrong. A 7.5 out of 10, by my standards, is still a good score. This is still a great movie, and we're going to dive into that now. In a lot of ways, Hustle feels like the distant cousin movie of Draft Day with Kevin Costner, focusing on the NFL in that movie, unlike the NBA in this movie, and a little bit of a rougher around the edges version of Ted Lasso too. Starting with the pros for this movie, it's a very positive story. It's positive, but there are twists and turns, and it is realistic, and there are some surprising things that happen, but it's an overall really positive story. Adam Sandler plays an NBA scout, Stanley Sugarman, who is likable, flawed, but incredibly driven. The movie is also beautifully shot and cut together. It just has an incredible look from beginning to end. I also like that this is yet another movie that shows that Adam Sandler is capable of playing a lot of different types of roles, in this case dramas. If you have not seen Reign Over Me, directed by Mike Binder, go check out that movie. If you haven't seen Spanglish by James Brooks, check out that movie. There are a lot of different choices. You could also check out Punch Drunk Love by Paul Thomas Anderson. Sandler gives another amazing performance in this movie, and we should not be surprised later this year, coming around award season, to see his name amongst the acting nominees. Now let's dig into the cons for a moment. The third act of this movie is a little disappointing. There's kind of a last-minute change, and it just kind of ruins a lot of the good momentum going forward with this movie. It doesn't ruin it, actually ruins too strong of a word. It's a little disappointing, that ending. Again, the characters in it, the positivity, the beautiful way it's shot, doesn't ruin the whole thing, doesn't even ruin it that much, but it feels awkward. It does. Also, I didn't understand why, with 4 of these supporting characters that are cast by great actors, why they were not really given much to work with. Their lines were kind of wooden. Their setup and background, all of it, just kind of not really much there to work with at all. Kind of one-dimensional type of characters. The characters I'm talking about, Queen Latifah, who plays Sandler's wife, Robert Duvall, who plays the owner of the 76ers, Ben Foster, who plays the evil son to Robert Duvall's owner character, and then finally, Jaleel White as another coach on the 76ers, or someone that's part of the front office staff of the 76ers. He barely has any lines at all and is just kind of a background face that appears every now and then in the movie, and it's just so weird. I mean, come on. Let Urkel have some lines. The guy can act. He also has range. You don't even need me to say it. We've seen it over the years. It felt silly to see him or Queen Latifah or Ben Foster or Robert Duvall just put into these very simple roles when they've shown us many times before they can do so much more if you give them something to work with. I also struggled with finding what was really the story of this movie. I get that it's actually Sandler's character, and is he going to be able to really go after his dream and achieve his dream of being a coach and on the coaching staff of the 76ers? Now, it feels like that is the story of this movie, but it also feels like it is a commercial for the NBA, and I mean the NBA draft in particular. That is why I say this feels like a sister movie to Draft Day with Kevin Costner. It's the same type of feel where it's beautifully shot, it's well acted, but there's not really much of a conflict. Why are you supposed to care? It can't just be about, if you love basketball, that's going to be this movie. That's not good enough. What made West Wing such a great show? It was not about the politics. It's about the story. It's about the characters. It's about giving a damn about what's happening amongst them. One other thing I need to mention too is that I get that this is a sports movie, and in the sports movie you're going to have the training montage where the athlete, he or she, is getting stronger, they're getting more confident, and you're just seeing them as they're developing their skill and that they're developing their own belief in themselves. There are a few of these montage training scenes in Hustle. In both of those scenes, it felt like they lasted longer than 5 minutes. Like, you could feel the time at one point where I'm like, okay, this is cool. It is creative how they shoot it, how they do the music to it, and all of that, you know, the actors in it and the real NBA staff they use in it. Of course, that's all really cool, but the scenes drag on way too damn long. So now that we've been through the good and the bad of this movie, I still want to say this is a great movie. I did enjoy it very much. In particular, the one thing I really enjoyed was seeing the Happy Madison logo come up before the movie started. Actors like Adam Sandler or Sylvester Stallone, these are actors that the industry, they stigmatize these actors. They say like, okay, oh, you make the stupid comedies, or Stallone, you make the stupid action movies, and so they're never given a chance to show that they can do a lot of different things. People forget that Sandler is actually one of the most successful people working in the entertainment business today. He has utilized his deal with Netflix well to make many movies, to be able to make whatever he wants. If he wants to do a comedy, if he wants to do a drama, he does it, and he doesn't complain. For an industry who can ignore him, he never whines and complains about it. He leaves that to people like me. He just keeps making the content, and guess what? It performs really well. And with the other example, just briefly, I want to mention was Sylvester Stallone. When he's stigmatized, people forget that without Sylvester Stallone writing the first Rocky and making that deal, convincing producers to let him be the lead actor, without that happening first, you don't have Good Will Hunting, okay? You do not have Ben Affleck and Matt Damon writing their script and then also chopping it around saying, we want to be the leads in this movie. Without the Rocky precedent, it doesn't happen. So I just am so happy to see movies like Hustle and Sandler continuing to be successful, continuing to make films. They're rooting for the guy. Hustle, a fantastic film. I do hope you check it out. It's a 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what you think. Thank you for listening.